There is a highly calculated, deeply sinister, and completely unforgiving financial heist currently taking place in plain sight within the world of professional sports, and the billionaire ownership class of the WNBA is absolutely terrified that you are finally starting to wake up and see the truth. Welcome back to WNBA Pro, the absolute undisputed frontline for the raw, unapologetic, and completely unfiltered reality of the business of women's basketball. We are not here today to politely discuss box scores, defensive rotations, or the Rookie of the Year race. We are here to aggressively tear down the curtain and expose an archaic, fundamentally broken, and entirely disrespectful financial ecosystem that is actively allowing billionaire franchise owners to financially exploit the single greatest, most profitable generational talent pool the sport has ever witnessed. For decades, the WNBA establishment has operated behind a carefully constructed, heavily fortified wall of corporate gaslighting. They have repeatedly begged the public for patience, they have constantly cried poverty, and they have successfully convinced entire generations of athletes that they should simply be grateful to have a place to play. But that illusion is officially dead. The arrival of this historic rookie class has acted like a blinding spotlight, completely illuminating the grotesque disparity between the astronomical wealth these women generate and the completely insulting pennies they are legally permitted to take home. We are looking directly at the absolute financial tragedy of Angel Reese's completely laughable rookie contract. We are actively dissecting the multi-million-dollar, untouchable corporate empires being aggressively built by Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston completely outside the jurisdiction of the league. And most importantly, we are documenting the massive, catastrophic labor war that is hurtling toward the WNBA front offices at breakneck speed as the players prepare to violently rip up the current collective bargaining agreement and demand their absolute non-negotiable equity. The era of corporate compliance is over. Buckle up, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and let us ruthlessly dissect the greatest financial reckoning in the history of professional basketball.
Without the bonus, what they're called bonus escalators, right? Bonus incentives, as they call it in other sports. And a lot of people this is getting a lot of reaction, a hell of a lot of reaction, as you can imagine. Again, are all the thank you cards filled out?
To truly comprehend the sheer, unadulterated absurdity of the WNBA's systemic financial suppression, you only need to look at the incredibly infuriating reality surrounding Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. In the modern sports economy, an athlete's true value is entirely dictated by their return on investment. When the Chicago Sky drafted Angel Reese, they did not just acquire an incredibly gifted forward with a relentless motor and an elite rebounding pedigree. They acquired a massive, walking, breathing, global economic stimulus package. The Chi Barbie is not just a basketball player, she is a completely unparalleled cultural phenomenon. The exact second she steps off the team bus and walks into the arena, the financial dynamics of the entire city fundamentally change. Television networks see their broadcast ratings explode into the stratosphere. The secondary ticket market completely breaks down, with desperate fans paying astronomical, highly inflated premium prices just for the privilege of sitting in the upper bowl to watch her play. The merchandise stands inside the arena are completely and violently looted of every single piece of apparel bearing her name before the first quarter even concludes. She is directly responsible for injecting millions upon millions of dollars in highly quantifiable, undeniable new revenue directly into the veins of the Chicago Sky organization and the WNBA as a massive corporate entity. Yet, when you aggressively bypass the hype and look directly at the legally binding piece of paper that dictates her actual WNBA-based salary, the number staring back at you is so staggeringly pathetic, so utterly disconnected from economic reality, that it feels like a grotesque typographical error. We are talking about a base salary hovering around $73,000. Let the sheer, disrespectful gravity of that number fully process in your mind. An athlete who commands the center of the national media cycle every single day. An athlete who is single-handedly responsible for selling out massive professional arenas across the country is being handed a starting salary that is roughly equivalent equivalent to a mid-level assistant manager working at a regional bank. It is an absolute, undeniable slap in the face. It is the ultimate manifestation of a highly restrictive, suffocating rookie wage scale that was meticulously designed by billionaire owners to entirely protect their profit margins, limit their financial liabilities, and aggressively suppress the earning potential of the very women who are actively making them richer.
I can tell you right now, with incentives because of making the all WNBA team, that 574 is really going to be like 1.1 million. If the Fever choose to offer her the max or get her up to the max. Caitlin Clark, $85,528K. Now, the reason...
The catastrophic, glaring discrepancy between the massive economic tidal wave that Angel Reese physically generates for the league and the microscopic crumb she actually takes home in her WNBA paycheck completely exposes the central, foundational lie that the league has been selling to the public for over a quarter of a century. For decades, the commissioners, the executive board members, and the billionaire ownership groups have aggressively, relentlessly pushed a very specific, highly calculated public relations narrative. They claimed with a straight face that the league simply does not generate enough meaningful revenue. They claimed they operate at a massive, unsustainable deficit, and that they physically, mathematically cannot afford to pay their athletes anything closely resembling traditional, respectable professional sports salaries. They use this carefully crafted narrative of poverty as a heavy, suffocating weapon to silence player complaints, crush contract holdouts, and force elite athletes to gratefully accept absolute financial scraps. But players like Angel Reese have completely, violently destroyed that false narrative, once and for all. You simply cannot look at completely sold-out arenas in every single major media market. You cannot look at record-shattering merchandise sales that outpace historical metrics. And you absolutely cannot look at unprecedented, multi-network television viewership numbers that rival major men's sporting events and continue to look the public in the eye and cry poor. The money is absolutely there. The revenue is actively, violently flowing into the league's coffers at a speed, velocity, and sheer volume that has never been seen before in the entire history of women's athletics. Franchise valuations that were sitting at $15 million just a few years ago have aggressively exploded to well over $150 million. The terrifying, unspoken reality is that the owners are simply hoarding the newly generated wealth. They are aggressively hiding behind the protective shield of an outdated, archaic, collective bargaining agreement that explicitly, legally prevents the players from automatically sharing in this massive new explosion of corporate cash. Angel Reese is essentially providing incredibly highly skilled, premium, elite-level labor at an absolute, massive, systemic discount, and the Chicago Sky ownership group is happily, quietly sitting in their luxury suites cashing the massive checks her physical presence generates. It is a brilliant, entirely ruthless, heavily calculated business model for the billionaire class, but it is an absolute, unmitigated, unforgivable disaster for the athletes who are physically putting their bodies, their ligaments, and their mental health on the line every single night on the hardwood.
Rookie classes involved here. Aliyah Boston 1. Diamond Miller? Huh? Say what? What? All right. Number 2, ahead of Caitlin Clark. What the hell? All right. My girl Camila Cardoso,
But while Angel Reese's incredibly frustrating situation perfectly highlights the absolute ridiculous absurdity of the league's internal restrictive pay scale, Caitlin Clark is actively, aggressively, and brilliantly rewriting the entire economic rulebook from the outside in. Caitlin Clark is a completely different breed of business entity. She looked directly at the WNBA's embarrassing, archaic rookie salary structure, realized with absolute clarity that the $76,000 the Indiana Fever are legally obligated to pay her is essentially nothing more than pocket change, and immediately decided to construct her own massive, unstoppable, multinational corporate empire completely and entirely independent of the league's control. She has effectively rendered the WNBA's salary cap completely irrelevant to her personal net worth. For Caitlin Clark, the WNBA is no longer her primary employer. The WNBA is simply the 2-hour television marketing platform she uses twice a week to actively advertise her actual business to the entire globe. We are talking about a paradigm-shifting, historic, mind-bending $28 million signature shoe deal with Nike that completely shatters all previous expectations for a female basketball player. We are talking about massive, incredibly lucrative blue-chip corporate partnerships with Gatorade, State Farm, and Panini that generate millions of dollars in guaranteed annual revenue. Caitlin Clark is absolutely not banking on the goodwill of the WNBA ownership class to make her wealthy. She is banking entirely on her own transcendent, undeniable gravitational cultural pull. This presents a massive, terrifying reality check for the WNBA front offices and the league commissioner. When your absolute biggest, most valuable, and most globally famous employee is making 99% of her staggering income from external corporate sponsors, you have completely and utterly lost your ultimate psychological and financial leverage over her. Caitlin Clark absolutely does not need the WNBA paycheck to survive. She does not need it to thrive. If the league decided to aggressively lock out the players tomorrow during a bitter labor dispute, Caitlin Clark would not even feel the slightest financial tremor. She has completely insulated herself from the archaic, restrictive economics of the league. She has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that true elite female athletes no longer have to beg the owners for a living wage. They can aggressively bypass the billionaire owners entirely, go straight to the massive corporate sponsors who actually understand and respect their true global market value and secure their own bags. It is a stunning, brilliant, utterly ruthless display of modern athletic capitalism, and it has completely terrified the old guard of the WNBA establishment because they realize they no longer control the narrative.
With love and respect, the players of the WNBA, and how do you know this is AI? Because they ain't never going to say nothing that nice about Caitlin Clark, unfortunately. They should. They all should be donating like 1% out of their check, every one of them, into the thank you for keeping our damn failing league up afloat fund. But, of course,
this massive, league-wide financial awakening is absolutely not just limited to the historic, media darling rookie class. We have to look incredibly closely at the highly strategic, deeply calculated financial maneuvering of established elite veterans like Aliyah Boston to see the true blueprint of this revolution. Boston represents the absolute pinnacle of how to intelligently, aggressively navigate and manipulate this deeply flawed system to your ultimate advantage. She came into the league, utterly dominated the paint, easily secured the Rookie of the Year award, and very quickly realized that relying strictly on the Indiana Fever's limited payroll was a massive, fatal mistake for her long-term financial security. So, what exactly did she do? She aggressively, brilliantly diversified her portfolio. She leveraged her incredibly high basketball IQ, her natural magnetic charisma, and her undeniable on-court success to immediately secure highly lucrative national broadcasting deals. She is working as a top-tier, highly respected analyst for major networks during the offseason. She is securing massive local and national endorsement deals, and she is aggressively monetizing every single aspect of her personal brand. Players like Aliyah Boston, A'ja Wilson, and Caitlin Clark are setting a brand new, highly aggressive, completely uncompromising precedent for the entire WNBA locker room. They are actively teaching the younger generation of incoming players that you must absolutely treat yourself as an independent, ruthless corporate entity. They are actively proving that the WNBA base salary is just the absolute bare minimum, a simple, low-level stepping stone used to access the real, life-changing, generational wealth that exists exclusively in the corporate endorsement and media sector. This fundamental shift completely, entirely changes the underlying power dynamic of the entire league. When players are completely financially independent, when they are making millions outside the arena, they become significantly more vocal. They become significantly more demanding. They become utterly fearless. They are no longer terrified of upsetting management or ownership because management absolutely does not hold the keys to their financial survival anymore. This newfound aggressive financial independence is exactly what gives the players the ultimate courage, the undeniable leverage, and the absolute sheer willpower to finally stand up, look the billionaire owners directly in the eye across the negotiating table, and demand a massive, fundamental restructuring of the entire league's financial ecosystem.
Yeah, Dallas got to pay Diamond Miller $536K. Yeah. Yeah. Where's the money coming from? Nobody's bringing this up. People are asking how is the league going to pay for $2.2 billion media rights?
And all of this massive, bubbling, incredibly tense financial pressure finally brings us to the absolute, undeniable breaking point that is about to send massive, destructive shockwaves through the entire global sports world: the impending explosion of the WNBA collective bargaining agreement. The players' union is officially awake. They are incredibly angry. They are highly educated on the complex macroeconomics of the sport, and they are preparing for absolute, unmitigated corporate war. They hold the highly anticipated, legally binding option to completely opt out of the current, highly restrictive CBA, and every single respected sports economist on the planet expects them to completely and violently detonate it. The current agreement was negotiated years ago in a completely different, darker era, when the league was genuinely, legitimately struggling for basic viewership, relevancy, and survival. It was a highly conservative, heavily owner-favored document designed purely to keep the lights on. But that era of desperation is completely, permanently dead and buried. We are now living in the unprecedented era of sold-out arenas, historic, record-breaking television ratings, and massive, multi-billion-dollar broadcasting rights deals. The WNBA just signed a media rights deal reportedly worth over $2 billion over the next decade. The players are looking directly at the NBA model, where their male counterparts receive a legally guaranteed, ironclad 50-50 split of all basketball-related income. They look at their own WNBA contracts, where they receive a completely embarrassing, microscopic, deeply insulting fraction of the total generated revenue, and they are standing in absolute unison saying, absolutely no more. The demand that is coming is going to be incredibly simple, incredibly loud, and entirely non-negotiable. A massive, fundamental, ground-up restructuring of the revenue-sharing model. They want a massive piece of the new $2 billion television deal. They want a massive piece of the skyrocketing merchandise sales and the ticketing revenue. They want the restrictive, archaic rookie wage scale, the exact same scale that is currently insulting Angel Reese with a $73,000 salary, completely abolished or massively, aggressively increased to reflect modern economic realities. The WNBA Players Union is absolutely no longer asking politely for a minor cost of living raise. They are organizing a highly aggressive labor movement to demand their rightful, equitable ownership in a billion-dollar enterprise that they physically, literally built with their own sweat, blood, and torn ligaments. This is not a negotiation. This is a hostile corporate takeover by the labor force.
That's the bonus program. Oh, shit. Now the players can't be getting detained by Russia. Brittany Griner doesn't find that joke funny. I hear he does not find that funny at all. Shame on you guys.
The billionaire owners of the WNBA are currently standing at a massive, terrifying, highly precarious crossroads. They have a very simple, yet highly consequential choice to make regarding the future of their investments. They can either wake up, look at the completely undeniable financial data, recognize the massive, permanent paradigm shift in women's sports, and willingly agree to pay these elite athletes the millions of dollars in equity they actually, rightfully deserve, or they can stubbornly, foolishly cling to their outdated, greedy corporate models and face an absolute, catastrophic player revolt. If the owners try to play arrogant hardball during these upcoming CBA negotiations, if they try to offer microscopic, insulting, incremental increases instead of a fundamental 50-50 revenue split, they will actively trigger a massive, highly public, utterly devastating player lockout. And a lockout right now, at the exact critical moment when the sport has finally captured the absolute undivided attention of the global mainstream audience, would be the single greatest, most incredibly self-destructive act of corporate sabotage in the entire history of professional sports. It would kill the momentum instantly. The fans absolutely do not care about the billionaire owners' precious profit margins or their franchise valuations. The fans are tuning in strictly to watch Caitlin Clark shoot from the logo, to watch Angel Reese fiercely dominate the glass, and to watch Aliyah Boston brilliantly command the paint. The players hold every single ounce of the leverage. The historical illusion of the poor, struggling charity case, WNBA, is completely and entirely shattered forever. The money is flowing like a raging river, the massive corporate sponsors are fully engaged, and the era of players quietly accepting highly disrespectful, hilarious base salaries is officially, permanently over. The absolute financial reckoning is finally here, and the front offices better have their checkbooks wide open, or they are going to lose their entire league. I want to pass this massive, highly controversial, and incredibly important debate directly to you, the smartest and most passionate fans in the game. Do you think it is absolutely ridiculous, unfair, and exploitative that Angel Reese is only making $73,000 from the WNBA while bringing in millions for her franchise? Or is that just the harsh, unavoidable reality of signing a rookie contract in a growing league? Do you firmly believe the players' union should aggressively hold out, refuse to play, and threaten a massive strike until they get a 50-50 revenue split exactly like the NBA? And ultimately, who do you think holds the real terrifying power right now at the negotiating table? The billionaire team owners or transcendent megastars like Caitlin Clark? I want to see your deepest, most analytical, and fiercest economic debates in the comment section below right now. Make sure to absolutely smash that like button to push this crucial, eye-opening message through the algorithm. Subscribe to WNBA Pro and turn on those bell notifications so you never miss our explosive deep dives into the real, unfiltered business of basketball. The financial revolution has officially begun, the battle lines have been drawn, and we will be right here to document every single dollar. Catch you in the next video.